Nailed it.
Right on the half hour. I love it. We are live. Good evening, everyone. We are Dan and Faith coming to you from Charlestown, New Hampshire, where we've had our first 4 inches of snow for the season. And we are joined in our song swap this week by Charlie Mosbrook from Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome, Charlie.
Hey, good to be here.
Good to see you.
And I'm actually in my home, and it's really good to be in my home and be able to spend time with you.
Yeah. There's maybe one upside to all this remote playing is we've been able to do some song swaps with people all over the country. And
without any of us having to leave home.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we miss being out on the road and catching up with people on the road and playing with them on the road, but
this is the next best thing.
This works for now. So
our deal, as ever, is we'll start out with a song, and then we'll have Charlie play a song, and then we'll just go back and forth for the evening, and we'll see where we end up.
Let me turn off that little ticker thing because it gets annoying, and so we'll kick it off. This old road paved with dirt, wild berries for dessert, been coming here all of my days. On this wooded mountain top, don't need calendars or clocks, sunlight on the trees shows the way. A simple cabin in the woods, built with sweat, built it good, hard work to realize a dream. Simple things, fresh starts, quiet places, pure heart, steady hands, sturdy beams. And those quiet Sunday mornings, cabin still, coffee's perking, dawn reveals another perfect day. Old creaking cabin floors, hinges sigh for open doors, troubles of the world so far away. Another summer turns to fall, loons give one last call, then sail away on majestic wings. Through winter's cold and dark, snow is deep, trees stand stark, cabin waits for another spring. And those quiet Sunday mornings, cabin still, coffee's perking, dawn reveals another perfect day. Old creaking cabin floors, hinges sigh for open doors, troubles of the world so far away. It's been years since you left us, and it hasn't been the same. The cabin misses your touch on those weekends when you came. And those quiet Sunday mornings, cabin still, coffee's perking, dawn reveals another perfect day. Old creaking cabin floors, hinges sigh for open doors, troubles of the world so far away. On those quiet Sunday mornings, I miss you most of all. For my dad.
We just went down last weekend to close up the cabin for the winter.
Yep. So I was thinking about him because of that, and because his birthday's coming up.
Yep.
So he's been gone over 14 years now.
It's coming up. It's 14 years. And thankfully, the water lines thawed enough for us to drain them.
One line was the heat tape turned out wasn't on. We thought it would be. Oops.
Oopsie. Yeah.
So, what do you got, Charlie? What you take away?
There's a song about your getaway spot, your little cabin. So why don't I go up to our little cottage up in the mountains in Pennsylvania here. It's a song called Hemlock Hill, about a place my grandparents owned a bunch of years ago. It's a summer song, and it's no longer summer here, although I think we've got a weekend of Indian summer. out on the porch, late on a summer's day. We gathered round and watched the children play out in the yard, just like our former days when we were young, on Hemlock Hill. And down below in a maze of rhododendron, we were chasing rabbits as fast as we could run. And we grew so quick, but the time stood still back home on Hemlock Hill. We never thought that we would grow up and be parents to our own. No rabbits caught, but we could count each hair as years roll by, slowly age and say goodbye to a time long gone. I remember well, back home on Hemlock Hill. My father shared the stories of his life and all the years, and how he met his wife and took a job and built his family, who grew and moved from Hemlock Hill. Now every summer, like pilgrims, we arrive across the state, and around the lake we drive to a town long gone. I remember well, back home on Hemlock Hill. We never thought that we would grow up and be parents to our own. No rabbits caught, but we could count each hair as years roll by, slowly age and say goodbye to a time long gone. I remember well, back home on Hemlock Hill. My mom cooks best out on the grill, back home on Hemlock Hill.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can picture it now.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my dad built a place out in Beckett, Mass. So it seemed my kind of idea. And we may actually get there more next summer. They're supposed to get high-speed internet out there finally.
Ooh.
At which point we could actually go and spend some time and be able to work from there instead of having to drive down to the highway where there's cell coverage, so that we could do conf calls and things like that.
Yeah, we always have to descend off the mountain and go to the Sunoco, and in the right spot in the parking lot.
Exactly.
We can, hey, Max.
Hey, Max. How you doing?
And
Real
Ruth
quick.
is hanging out there,
Excellent.
too.
Hey, Max. And yeah, I assume Ruth is there somewhere. So we had those guys on with us a couple of weeks ago. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great.
They are.
They're sweethearts.
We've run into them at Surfa and at Farm.
And Farm, obviously. Yeah.
I don't remember if they were at Nerfa, but
I remember.
but we've been in the rounds with them a number of times. Always fun.
Yep.
So, well, we're off the tail end of harvest season, but at least up here, your friends down in Arkansas are still bringing in tons of stuff.
Well, yeah, but we actually had to dig through the snow to get our last round of radishes, so it was a little chilly on the fingers.
But we'll play a little song about the harvest. This was called Harvest Time. It's from our new CD. All right. Crisp New England air on an autumn morning. Songbirds at the feeder greet sunrise as they sing. Leaves begin to fade in colors bright and bold. Whispers on the wind, another year grows old. The passing of the seasons summer into fall. Soon enough, winter winds will sound their siren call. The years pass too quickly, and yet we can't complain. Come next year, we'll be right here rejoicing again. So set the table, light the candles, it's harvest time once more. Sunny days, chilly nights, wind knocks at the door. Apple pie from the oven, sure to delight. Celebrate this bounty in autumn's fading light. Clouds soar overhead through gently swaying trees. In this time of dreams and joyful memories, the firewood is stacked and the peaches have been canned, working hand in concert with the land. So set the table, light the candles, it's harvest time once more. Sunny days, chilly nights, wind knocks at the door. Apple pie from the oven, sure to delight. Celebrate this bounty in autumn's fading light. Harvest time is bittersweet, we cannot help but sigh. Another trip around the sun, days are passing by. As we settle into winter and cold winds start to blow, we'll think about next season and the crops that we will grow. Well, there's taters in the cellar and wheat to see us through. The kale will winter over till springtime skies turn blue. So set the table, light the candles, it's harvest time once more. Sunny days, chilly nights, wind knocks at the door. Apple pie from the oven, sure to delight. Celebrate this bounty in autumn's fading light. Celebrate together on this joyful night. Harvest time. I was just thinking as we were driving across I-90 through Ohio that there were huge apple orchards out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's something our area is known for, but I always forget that whole area of the Midwest has got tons of orchards.
Yeah, it's not till you get further west from there that you end up with just
Corn.
Funny about that.
Indiana and beyond.
Yep. Land of corn.
Soy.
And soy, yep. Yeah, you have to have something to try to recover the fields after however many years of corn.
Yep.
What's the dead string there? There we go.
Sounds a little more alive there.
My friend Noah Zacharin told me to buy these G7 capos.
The clamp-on type?
Yeah, he said that's a great capo. Get it. So
I had one
and
that
it
clutch
buzzed.
went bad.
No, it's actually a very good capo.
Yeah.
I trust Noah's opinion. He's a great player.
I actually have on maybe coming tomorrow some new designs from G7. I want to try out.
New
But
toys.
yeah, haven't had a new capo in a while, and the other one I've been using, not this one, has been causing me grief. So I decided it was time to order a new one.
The never-ending search for the perfect capo.
Yep. And the perfect pick. Yep.
Take it
Funny,
away.
I found my perfect picks and then decided I like the Wiegans better than the blue chips.
I've been using the Wiegans.
I'm a Golden Gate girl.
Well, your last song, I talked about the coming of winter. I wrote this one in the middle of winter. It was the polar vortex, right around the time Pete Seeger passed away. And I was writing a song for the John Hartford Memorial John Hartford Folk Festival Memorial Songwriting Contest. I think I got that all right, or at least I got enough of the right words in there. I don't know if they were in order. And they said, you got to write it in the spirit of John Hartford. I thought about his life, and I said, well, I don't know anything about a steamboat. And I said, what do I know about? And I looked out the window, and it was snowing. I said, I know about snow. Lake Erie teaches us all we need to know about it. So I wrote this one. It was an honorable mention. They invited me down to the Bean Blossom to sing this for them. Oh, seasons change, now summer's gone, and autumn's charm is long past gone. Canadian winds are howling at my door, and I look out across the ice and snow. The Erie winds are gonna bitterly blow. A chill is gonna settle deep in your bones, and maybe I don't mind. I'm doing my time with you. Maybe I don't mind. I'm doing my time with you. So I guess we'll be staying in, 'cause I don't know where the road begins. 'Cause there's a few feet of snow here and maybe more. And maybe I don't mind. I'm doing my time with you. Maybe I don't mind. I'm doing my time with you. And the worst is yet to come. It might be months before the sun finds its way back into our homes. There is no pardon or parole. There is no bail that we can go. And baby, I don't mind. Justice here is blind, and I'm doing my time with you. Oh, the wood is piled by the kettle stove, and I got these blankets that my mother wove. Some whiskey's gonna help that fire glow, and baby, I don't mind. I'm doing my time with you, and baby, I don't mind. I'm doing my time with you, you do, yeah, I'm doing my time. My time with you. That's that.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah,
Ah, that was a fun one.
it was, and I like up tempo and happy.
And
Gotta stay warm.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you get that much snow, you need somewhere to stay warm. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I grew up on the edge of the snow belts in upstate New York, and was very excited to move to New England because I was finally going to get away from them. Well, it turns out there's a gap in the mountains just west of us that on occasion allows some of the lake effect snows from Ontario to work their way in. And actually last night we were getting lake effect snow from Hudson Bay in Canada.
Wow.
It's like, okay.
That's just not fair.
Yeah, that's a long way to come to dump a
It
little
is.
snow on you.
But there was this, Hudson Bay comes down to that point that points down toward Vermont, and it was flowing straight down that point, straight through Vermont, and giving us just a little bit of a dusting. Nothing like, what my dad used to go through up in upstate New York, where they'd get 5 feet of snow up on Tug Hill Plateau, but it was annoying.
Well, we thought we'd do something that's upbeat and fun. It's a sing-along, so sing along.
Yep.
We won't be able to hear you, but...
And it's kind of the opposite of where you were going with, sort of being, as you said, doing my time with you, cooped up at home. This is doing my time with you, cooped up on the road.
So this is what we were doing until this pandemic started.
That's right.
Ready?
Yep.
Ramblin' round, ramblin' round,
Rambling round.
ramblin' round this old world. Ramblin' round, ramblin' round,
Rambling round.
ramblin' round this old world. Been to the east, been to the west, been to the north, been to the south, been ramblin' this whole world round. Ramblin' round, ramblin' round, ramblin' round this old world. Ramblin' round, ramblin' round, ramblin' round this old world. Been to the mountains, been to the plains, been to the desert, seen floods and rain, been rambling this whole world round. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Been to the ocean and dove right in, lived in a city, never will again. Been rambling this whole world round. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Been singing songs and making friends, been telling stories now and then, been rambling this whole world round. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Rambling round, rambling round this old world. Rambling round, rambling round, rambling round this old world. Been rambling round this old world.
Yeah.
You should hold up the
Rambling.
instrument
I
because
should,
people
because
can't see that.
folks can't see the dulcimer when it's in my lap. My Appalachian Mountain dulcimer from Berea, Kentucky.
Beautiful. What kind of dulcimer is that?
It's an Appalachian Mountain
Appalachian
dulcimer.
Mountain dulcimer. I
This
don't
is
remember the wood.
Warren
May.
May
Yep.
in Berea, Kentucky. We got that at his shop. He built a dulcimer a day. He was in the shop 6 days a week for 40 plus years. And there were never more than a few in the shop.
Yeah, and the day that we bought this, there were 3 that I had been looking at, and one of them sold overnight between when I first looked at it and when I came back to try it with his guitar. So, but this one turned out to be gorgeous with his guitar.
It's a pretty instrument.
It
Yeah.
is. I love
I
it.
like my dulcimer. I don't play it nearly enough, but it's a treat when I decide I have enough time to fool around with that rather than work on the stuff that I'm supposed to be working on.
I understand how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, rambling around, let me do my little train song. This is something called Emeryville. I wrote it on the train running from Denver out to San Francisco, and we talk about all those mountains and the deserts and the oceans and the bay and the tracks and everything in between. We got a beautiful country, and I'm looking forward to seeing us do a little bit more to make it a little more beautiful, or keep it beautiful. That's going to be the big goal. and it won't be long. Well, I heard her say, well, as we waited at the station in the early hours of the day, and just like a song, with an old familiar melody, the number 5 will soon arrive and we'll all be on our way. About 7:15 the train is pulling in. It's right on time, so let the journey begin. Aboard the Zephyr out of Denver and home through to Emeryville. Morning breaks and coffee is poured. Conductor shouts till everybody on board. Well, for the Zephyr out of Denver and home through to Emeryville. And over the mountains and canyons and empty old towns. Oh, we're dining in the desert while the sun is sinking down. Oh, come the night time, we sped across the Bonneville Flats with a pint of whiskey shared that we carried in a stainless steel flask. And I tried to write, but I guess my day it's done. 'Cause it's hard to stay awake when you listen to them steel rails hum. Making up time lost to the day with no more climbs beyond the Great Salt Lake. Aboard the Zephyr out of Denver and on through to Emeryville. Morning breaks and coffee it's poured. Conductor shouts, will everybody get on board? 'Cause the Zephyr's leaving Reno and on through to Emeryville. And over the mountains and canyons and empty old towns. And up around the diners, some of this train is slowing down behind a freight train. We're losing time across the Golden State. I guess it's never quite as simple as you think that it's gonna be. And as the sun began to fade, we looked out on the San Francisco Bay. Aboard the Zephyr out of Denver, we were pulling into Emeryville. I think that's the ending.
Nice.
Sweet.
I know you love the trains, and we do as well, although we haven't done a cross-country trip. We do have an Amtrak, well, it's not running right now, that comes up right through our town.
Doesn't stop at our town. It stops one north and across the river south. But we got the Vermonter, which used to be the Montrealer, except it doesn't go that far anymore. Or actually, no, the Montrealer is...
No, it was.
this
was the Montrealer.
Yeah.
Because I got off the Montrealer once in Bellows Falls at 3 a.m. Because we had gone through, they had put a rotary plow on the front of the train to plow through the 2 feet of snow that was on the tracks. Oh, we were going about 10 miles an hour up through, from Springfield up through southern Vermont.
When they got to the station, they couldn't get the stairs down on the thing, so they just basically lifted Dan and his brother down into the snow.
Put their hands under our armpits and it's like thwunk, and then handed us our skis. We went into the station and it said, closing in 10 minutes. We found an all-night laundromat to stay warm until the bus came. Take us the last 10 miles or whatever.
Yeah.
But I love trains.
Yeah. 3
Whenever
a.m.
we're
is about
camping.
the time it always comes through Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being right between Chicago and New York, that's our
Yep.
time.
I've taken the Lakeshore Limited any number of times, but only as far from New York up to Albany. Used to have a good dining car on it too. Oh well. So, trains got me thinking about one of the classic themes of folk singers with trains, and that's coal. So, and there's a tie-in with trains at the end of this, but in the story on the end of this, but this is
It's the story after the song.
yeah. It's a little
Alright.
coal mining song.
And this one's also a sing-along for all you singing along at home.
Boss man says dig a hole in the ground, deep black hole in the ground. He stays up while we go down, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground. There's coal in that deep dark ground, coal in that deep dark ground. Way down in that deep dark mine, deep black hole in the ground. Danger's never far behind, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground. There's coal in that deep dark ground, coal in that deep dark ground. Foreman says gotta organize, deep black hole in the ground. Go on strike for someone dies, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground. There's coal in that deep dark ground, coal in that deep dark ground. Walk that picket line, have your say, deep black hole in the ground. Live to see another day, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground. There's coal in that deep dark ground, coal in that deep dark ground. No more coal until we win, deep black hole in the ground. Till that day we won't go in that deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground, deep black hole in the ground. Dig a hole, dig a hole, dig a hole in the ground. There's coal in that deep dark ground, coal in that deep dark ground. So the little story at the end of that is there was a mine down in, I think, Kentucky,
I think so.
where at the end of their 2 weeks, the paychecks showed up and then they bounced. And the miners, who were not union, set up tents on the train tracks
And
because
blocked all
the
of
management was trying to load up a coal train to ship it off. And these guys were like, no.
So they parked on the tracks and set up camp, and so there was no way the train cars were going to run, and the engineers on the trains who were union went to the miners and said, "We stand behind you 100%.
Can we go home?
What you're offering, what you're doing here. We kind of need the trains."
The engines.
So we kind of need the engines. So if we were to decouple the coal cars from the engines and just take off with the engines and leave you the coal cars, would you be okay with that? And the miners thought about it and said absolutely. So they did that. Coupled, and the engineers and the engines took off and left the coal cars sitting there with the miners blocking the way. And they did eventually get paid. Not back pay or anything.
No back pay, no benefits, but they got their paychecks back months later.
Yeah.
So
that's our tie into trains.
long way to go.
All right, well, let's do a little song about starting from nothing and trying to gain a little something in this world. I wrote this song out of the experience I had. So I sustained a spinal cord injury. There's nothing in the online kind of content that would necessarily reveal that to you, but I roll around on some wheels most of the time. And my first year of that happening, it was pretty bleak. It was tough. It was back in 2010, and I wasn't really quite sure how I was going to make a living. I wasn't sure, I was able to play a little music and teach people, but life had changed dramatically very quickly. And I looked forward to the following year, right around New Year, and I thought to myself, let's just chase your dreams because you got nothing to lose. And that was the attitude that I had within the song. And within the song, I started thinking about folks who would stand up for themselves because they got nothing to lose, which is where Dan and Faith were going with that song. And I ain't got nothing to lose. I got a bad pair of legs, someplace to put my shoes, and I don't walk right, but my toes they are wrapped up tight. And I ain't got nothing to lose. She ain't got nothing to lose. Oh, I heard her singing them blues. Oh, but she's been out of work for telling off that jerk. She ain't got nothing to lose. We ain't got nothing to lose, 'cause the bank is getting ready to sue, and the coins they're all gone, and she sighs that we'll live on. And we ain't got nothing to lose. Things will be looking up from here as we shift into a higher gear. And we can tighten up our belts and we can be stronger this year. 'Cause things will be looking up from here. 'Cause we ain't got nothing to lose. And that's that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, sometimes you just have to sort of go for it. I love it. And we only met you a couple of years ago, and you're well respected in the music community, and out and doing a little of this and a little of that and a little of the other with the music community. And for those who don't know, he's just been elected to the president of the Folk Alliance Regional Midwest. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so
Yeah.
I'd say you done good.
Thanks.
And we love your music, so
Yes,
Thank you.
very definitely.
and this is part of the fun of doing these is just getting to hear more of music from friends and songs we haven't heard yet and that kind
Yep.
of thing. So, well,
I gotta say, this whole pandemic lockdown kind of thing, the one thing that's really been wonderful to me is how much more I'm able to spend quality time with other musicians that I've gotten to know and found friendships with and share the stage with, and wherever we are in the world, and we're all able to do that in one form or another and have these great conversations and really be much more engaged than I am during normal times with all of these people, because all we got to do is log on, and it's a lot simpler than jumping on a train overnight and going through all the...
For all of the negatives of the whole pandemic thing, that is the one shining silver lining to it all is we've been doing song swaps with folks that we probably weren't going to be able to see for another couple of years, because we weren't going to make it out to their neck of the woods, or they weren't going to make it out to our neck of the woods, or vice versa.
And we've been doing online shows every couple of months for years, and it's fun.
Just us.
But this format, doing swaps, has just been... We love doing this in person. And, in the Midwest, we've done this with Andina and Rich several times, and other people out there. It's just so much fun, because it's just an interactive show. And I think we go play things that we might not. So... speaking of that, you were talking about Nothing Left to Lose, and that got me thinking of this song that I wrote in 2018, a few days after Parkland. 50 years ago, there were marchers in the streets on that Memphis night. A journey incomplete, left behind a legacy, stand up for what's right. Challenged us to carry on, marching to the light. They tried to kill the dream. Dreams live forever. We're born into children with nothing left to fear, passed on as spirit that can never die. History chooses you. This is your time, in the footsteps of Gandhi and Martin Luther King. In the darkest hours, the chimes of freedom ring, speaking truth to power, showing us the way. We look to you to lead to a bright new day. Lean on one another when your strength wears thin. It's not a fight you asked for, it's one we must win. It falls on you to speak for your absent friends. Long past time we declare never again. In the footsteps of Gandhi and Martin Luther King, in the darkest hours, the chimes of freedom ring, speaking truth to power, showing us the way. Look to you to lead to a bright new day. Nothing in your life will ever ease the pain, turn sadness into strength, and rise again. Reach out with hope to any who will hear. Love is the power that will conquer fear. In the footsteps of Gandhi and Martin Luther King, in the darkest hours, the chimes of freedom ring, speaking truth to power, showing us the way. Look to you to lead to a bright new day. Speaking truth to power, never turning away. Look to you to lead to a bright new day. Speaking truth to power, never turning away. This is the start of a bright new day.
Yeah. saw a comment online today from David Hogg, who was one of the kids from Parkland. Those kids, after the summer after that, spent their entire summer traveling around the country registering other kids to vote. And the 18 to 24-year-olds turned out in record numbers for that age group this year.
There was one spot down there. It's one of the colleges.
One of the college town in Florida, where they had 105% participation, because all of the students who were registered to vote in the town showed up at the voting booth, and an additional percentage of folks who had not yet registered, they're apparently allowed to register to vote on site.
You can do that in New Hampshire the same day.
Yeah, and same day registration. They showed up to vote that day and registered on time. So they had 105% of the numbers. And he said, we believe that the youth vote made a difference this year, and bravo to them.
New Hampshire had 80% turnout.
Which is ridiculously huge for New Hampshire.
It is.
So.
Yeah,
They tried to suppress all the college vote here, and they seem to have not
Failed.
made it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the numbers, but we were working the polls as observers, and quite a few people who had applied for a mail-in ballot never got them.
No.
Yeah,
But they showed up to vote in person?
Well, you can't.
Ah.
If you do, you got to do it ahead of time. You got to go into the Board of Elections, and they don't really make that clear. You got to dig for that information. So people were showing up in person saying, "I'll just do it here because I never got my ballot," and then they give them provisional ballot.
Yeah.
We don't
That
know
sucks.
if that works. Well, those kids inspired me. I'll tell you what. David Hogg and Emma Gonzalez and all those kids. One of them, they stood up. I remember getting back from Folk Alliance that year in 2018, and the kids had marched off to Tallahassee, and they said, "Enough! Listen to us. We're tired of being shot at in our schools. We're tired of living like this. Y'all got to do something." And then one kid pointed straight at the camera, and he said, "Come November, you remember who we are." And there was pen in hand, and I was writing songs. So this was inspired by those kids and everybody else who stood up to it. I mean, everybody. I was inspired by the people in the wheelchairs being dragged out of their wheelchairs, just trying to preserve their health care. And everybody, women. Anyway, I talk about them all in this song, so let's get to singing, because it's going to be a little more effective than me just talking. Remember who we are. We come from near and far. And women marching in the streets and bent-kneed athletes. And we are refugees and dreamers, the immigrants you blame, and we will come from near and far. Remember who we are. Remember who we are. Oh, we carry open scars, and we push these wheelchairs forward. You cannot disregard us as we block the halls of Congress for the fear of a graveyard. We will come from near and far. Remember who we are. And we stood up to the Klansmen and the Nazis just the same. To a tone-deaf president for whom the victims shared the blame for a deadly act of terror. To him it's just a game. We will come from near and far. Remember who we are. be scientists and teachers, reporters on TV, investigators, lawyers. The proof it's plain to see, and the evidence is obvious. So don't look the other way, 'cause we will come from near and far. Remember who we are. Say that all lives matter, but it doesn't seem that way. 'Cause the consequence of living is dying every day. And if the motto of the police is self-service and neglect, oh, we will come from near and far. Remember who we are. And the schools, they're filled with children, yeah, they live by different rules. And drills and lockdowns put in place can't save them from these fools. And as you pander to the worst in us, young lives are laid to waste. And we will come from near and far. Remember who we are. And we will come from near and far. Oh, remember who we are. I just like making the ending every time a little different.
we have a few songs like that. Like, how does that end? No, actually, usually it's more like, how does that begin?
Yeah, we've been taking to doing a lot of demo recordings. I haven't done many this year, but preparing for the last album, I think we did 29 demos before we chose which songs. But part of the reason to do the demos is to remember how they go. We write a lot of songs, and sometimes it's hard to remember.
Yep. But yeah, I remember who we are. That's important. And actually, one of the things that you talked about in there was, talking about how all lives matter issue. We do a lot of songwriting from song prompts, because we've been running a songwriter showcase for a lot of years now. Where once a month our audience helps us choose a song topic for the following month's songwriters to write a song about. And a couple of months back, we had the topic of change. And we had actually had a change years ago. And he got the title song from one of our previous albums out of that one. And
on this one, I got a song about John Lewis, but we did that last week.
Yeah.
So.
And I got to sitting down and trying to figure. I actually wanted to write one about John Lewis, because he had just died, and he was one of those people who deserved many songs, and I hope many songs do get written about him. But nothing I could do was really fitting for that, so I sat down and did something that I learned from Sloan Wainwright, where you just start writing and see what comes out. And I started writing out random phrases having to do with change, and changing diapers, and changing underwear, and suddenly the phrase "something's got to change" come blurting out of my pen, and I looked at that and I said, "There's my song." So.
Get started.
Playing with a toy gun in the park, speak out, say his name. Officers arrive, shot him 2 seconds later. Something's gotta change. Eric Garner selling loose cigarettes, speak out, say his name. Police chokehold meant he couldn't breathe. Something's gotta change. Blacks have been asking for 400 years, pleading working, hoping. How many more black deaths will it take for white eyes to open? Stefan Clark on the phone at Grandma, speak out, say his name. The cop who shot him thought the phone was a gun. Something's gotta change. And Tatiana Jefferson gaming with her nephew, speak out, say her name. Shot through the window on an open door check. Something's gotta change. Blacks have been asking for 400 years, bleeding, working, hoping. How many more black deaths will it take for white eyes to open? Mariana Taylor sound asleep in her own bed, speak out, say her name. Shot on a search warrant at the wrong address. Something's gotta change. George Floyd's 20 appeared to be counterfeit. Speak out, say his name. George stopped breathing with a knee on his neck. Something's gotta change. Blacks have been asking for 400 years, bleeding, working, hoping. How many more black deaths will it take for white eyes to open? Something's gotta change.
You know, you hear this phrase of all lives matter, and you think about the idea that I don't think that any life matters to some of these folks who are
Yeah.
preaching that. It's really scary. I mean,
And you know, all lives can't matter until black ones do.
it's
So
absolutely true.
yeah.
Yep.
And you know, the folks coming across the border, and you know,
School
gay,
teachers.
lesbian, trans, all
Yeah.
that.
And,
Peop-
you know, they're pro-life until the kid's born, and then they have no interest.
Or as it was once explained to me, they are pro-fetus. So,
Yeah. So, Charlie, we're just about up to the hour, and wonder if you'd like to pick something to take us home.
Well, you know, your last song evoked an old song of mine. Do you mind if I do that?
Not at all.
go for it.
You would ask me to do another song, but now I'm provoked to do this song. 'Cause,
That's fine.
all right.
We may tag another one on the end. We'll see.
So about 25 years ago, early 90s, I think, 27 years ago, I was working with some kids in East Cleveland. That's a very poor neighborhood in Cleveland, Ohio, in the eastern suburbs. It's where John Rockefeller lived at one point, and there were quite a few millionaires living all up and down Euclid Avenue in East Cleveland. And then in the late 60s, black families started moving into the community, and the white families started moving out. And what ended up happening was that all of the property values just plummeted as the white families moved out, and then there was no tax money left to keep the community. So they don't really have anything in this community. It's literally 500 feet from where I'm sitting right now. You know, they can't do simple things like removing leaves or snow or garbage. They have a very limited police department, and a very limited fire department, and a lot of abandoned buildings and homes and rundown situation, and a lot of crime. One of the kids, and it's just stayed like that forever, and the local cities around it have talked about annexing it to try to help provide something to that community, but it's really in bad shape, and really the other cities around it don't want to take on that responsibility of having to take care of everything. One of the kids I was working with, his name was Robert, and when our session began at the beginning of the summer, Robert's mother had been murdered, but nobody bothered to tell us this, and we found out about it about midway through. We were never quite sure why his behavior was what it was. And the truth was that he was going through a hell that I can't imagine, being a child and losing your mother to violence. We toured the local city hall, and the young man took an opportunity to ask the mayor when he was going to do something, and I couldn't have ever been more proud of one of these children. The mayor did not have a good answer for him. Anyway, I wrote this song for him. I do not play guitar on it. Hopefully I remember it, because I really haven't sung it in a while. But it's a song for Robert. There's a child living down the hill, sits upon his windowsill. Someone's telling me we've got to change. Now something's telling me we've got to change. And he sits there writing poetry, all about the things he sees. Someone's telling me we've got to change. Now something's telling me we've got to change. Something's telling me we've got to change. Now something's telling me we've got to change. The president, he wants more police. It's a bigger problem than that speech. Something's telling me we've got to change. Now something's telling me we've got to change. Now something's telling me we've got to change. Now something's telling me we've got to change. That's all there is to that. Very simple.
Oh, man.
Couldn't think of a better song to end the show with either.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thanks for
something's got
having
to
me and
change.
sharing all this beautiful music.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, we missed coming out to farm, and we last year was our first time out there, and we had such a wonderful time.
And it will not be our final year. We've already told them, we move our reservation out to 2021. So
All right.
hopefully by 2021 we can actually go.
Yeah.
That would be nice. So we shall see.
There's hope on the horizon.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So thank you, Charlie Mosbrook. It's been great fun having you here. Next week we are doing our songwriter showcase with Linda Marks
And Rick Ellendorf.
Rick Ellendorf.
This is the show.
That
includes
has,
song
has a
prompts.
song prompt, and our song prompt for this month is "Shadows on the Grass."
I suppose I should go find the lines I had written and figure out the song that goes around them.
I suppose I should actually sit down and write something. I have a week. I'm good. But and so if folks tune in next week, they are going to be. It will be asked that they consider putting in options for the following rounds.
Following month's
song prompt.
songwriters. Yeah.
That's a fun idea.
It's fun, and it takes us in directions we would never have gone in a million years otherwise.
Yeah.
The weirdest one we've ever gotten was Sisters of Schadenfreude.
That was a challenge.
That was
For
the
any-
prompt?
That was
Yeah.
the prompt, yes.
Oh, okay.
And for anybody listening who doesn't know, Schadenfreude is a German word. Leave it to the Germans to have a word for this that means taking great delight in the misfortunes of others. It was a very weird month.
But
Yeah.
at any rate, so we've had a lot of good songs from prompts.
We have.
It keeps us writing and takes you, as Faith said, in directions you'd never go.
Yep.
So, but at any rate, good night all. Thanks so much, Charlie, and
Good night.
Yep.
we'll see folks next week.